Sometimes it's the little things that make the biggest difference in your everyday life, and that is something that CIA taught me right out of the gates from one of my first few days in training at the agency, and that's what I want to share with you today. I want to talk about a bulletproof spy breakfast. I know that probably doesn't sound like the most exciting thing when people think about spies. You think about shooting and cars and fashion and women and luxury. But the truth is, spies go through life one day at a time, and every single day starts the same way. It starts with some kind of meal. The reason breakfast is called break fast is because it is literally referring to your overnight lack of food or your fast from the last time you ate. So breakfast is extremely important because it is not only the first meal of the day like your grandma always told you or your mom always told you. It is literally the only meal of the day where you are breaking a long-term fast from the night before. So if you ate dinner at 6 p.m. and you eat breakfast at 8 a.m., you are essentially breaking a 14-hour fast. And when you break a fast, your body responds very differently than when you simply eat every 4, 6, or 8 hours like you might do when you eat breakfast at 8, lunch at 1, dinner at 8. You don't ever get into a cycle of fasting in your normal cycle of eating. But breakfast is always a broken fast, even for those of you out there like me who maybe drink a beer or two at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Either way, you're still breaking a fast every single morning you start breakfast. And CIA taught me that that was the most important meal of the day, not because of old wives' tales and not because your grandma told you so, but because there is a literal biological balance that you have to strike with your first meal of the day in order to prime your body for the rest of the day. I'm going to start with the most important element of a bulletproof spy breakfast first, because when CIA taught me this simple trick, I had no idea how much of a difference it would make in the rest of my day. And that is that the first piece of solid food that you should eat on any given day is actually a berry. A strawberry, a blackberry, raspberries, blueberries, it doesn't matter. Berries are the first thing you should put in your mouth every morning aside only from water. Water doesn't technically count as a food because it is a hydration source, which means you can drink water all you want and you're technically never eating a meal or eating any food because calories don't exist in water. So the very first caloric food that you should put in your face are actually berries. And there's a number of reasons why berries matter so much. Berries have high antioxidant levels, which reduce swelling, reduce any sort of inflammation in your bloodstream and your neural pathways in your nervous system. They are a low glycemic index food, which means they reduce blood sugar levels. So you don't get a sugar rush, you don't get a crash, you don't get any of the things that you get from typical sugar, typical carbohydrates, or typical caffeine when you eat berries first. And then the third major advantage they bring you is they are a fibrous food, which means they not only absorb the acid that's in your stomach left over from the previous night's fast, but they also actually start to carry their nutrients with them through the entire digestive process in your upper and lower intestine. So when you eat a berry, you actually have no sugar rush, tons of opportunity for your body to absorb all the nutrition of that berry, and the berry cleanses everything out of your system on its way out the other end. Now, before I jump into the next two pieces of a bulletproof spy breakfast, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor. Aura is a service that my wife and I have been using for almost a year now to secure our digital resources, our digital assets, our digital identities online in our mobile devices as well as in our work computers and our personal computers and really everywhere else. Because cybersecurity is a major concern, especially for us as digital business owners, but also for us as people who live in a digital age. My wife and I are connected not only by smartphone, but by social media account. Our bank accounts are linked via digital assets. Our loans, our mortgage, our professional backgrounds are all linked via some sort of digital connection, and our children are being raised in a world where digital connections are the norm. So you can understand why we prioritize cybersecurity the way that we do. And Aura is a service that takes all of that into account with a completely holistic service that looks at all elements of your personal and professional life when tying them together into a very convenient app that you can literally carry in your pockets or on on your laptop. So if you haven't had a chance yet to look in the description below, click on the link for aura.com/everydayspy. Check out their service, take advantage of their 2-week complimentary offer that they're offering anybody who watches this video, and see for yourself why my wife and I rely on Aura to keep our digital professional and digital personal lives safe. All right, now I want to get into the last bit of our conversation about bulletproof breakfast. The second major piece of a bulletproof spy breakfast is hard-boiled eggs. Yes, I understand that there's lots of people who eat eggs lots of different ways, but there's something very particular about a hard-boiled egg that I want to share that makes it superior to any other kind of egg out there. And that is the simple fact that when you eat a hard-boiled egg, it is always a self-contained unit, which means you can literally carry it with you in your pocket, you can carry it in your purse, you can carry it in your backpack, because it's surrounded by its own shell. So it is a mobile food. It's like a preserved food that was never preserved through processing, which means it never got preserved with salt, it never got preserved with sugar. It is an all-natural food. And not only is it an all-natural source of protein, which is what most people associate with eggs, hard-boiled eggs are actually a mobile food source that isolates the protein of the meal away from the fats of the meal, because the yolk is the actual fat center, the cholesterol center of the egg, while the egg white is the protein center. And contrary to popular belief, it is not about having no fat in your protein. You don't want to have just protein and no fat by taking the yolk out. In fact, what you want is a balance of proteins and fats. There's a saying out there, a rule of thumb, that says that everything it takes to make a chicken is what you need to build a body. So you need both the yolk and the egg white in an egg to have a fully balanced energy source for the body. So when you take the first part of a bulletproof breakfast, the berries themselves, and then you marry that up with the egg itself, what you actually have is a fully balanced meal that comprises all three of your main macronutrients: fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. The carbohydrate is the berries, a low glycemic index berry that's high in fiber that keeps your insulin levels regulated and your blood sugar low. You've got the protein in the egg white itself. You have the fats in the cholesterol of the egg yolk itself. So simply a handful of berries and 2 or 3 hard-boiled eggs is a fully complete macronutrient meal that is easy to digest, does not create acid buildup, has no preservatives present, maximizes your body's absorption of key minerals and nutrients, and cleanses your system of any toxins that it may have picked up from whatever you ate the night before. It is the ultimate way to break a fast. That is your breakfast, right? So when you get a chance in the morning to start your day and you want to start your day strong, don't grab a cup of coffee. Don't grab a bowl of cereal. Don't grab anything wrapped in a wrapper like a Nutri-Grain bar or a toaster strudel or who the hell knows whatever else you ate and I ate when we were growing up. Food-wise, you want to start with berries and then hard-boiled eggs. The third part to your bulletproof breakfast, you probably guessed it, was water. We talked about water earlier. Water is not actually considered a food group, but I want to be even more specific. You don't want to drink cold water. What you want is, at minimum, room temperature water. Even better if you can get your hands on hot water. So instead of making tea or coffee that brings caffeine into your system, you can literally just drink warm water. Now, here's what happens when you drink water. First, water brings hydration into your body. You need hydration in order to prime your digestive system to be able to break down the berries and the eggs that you just ate, right? So without water, without extra hydration in your system, your body doesn't actually have the levels of optimal hydration that it needs to function properly. Think of water like the oil in a car. Yes, you need gas, you need fuel to make the car go. Of course, you need the engine to make the car go. But you could have all the gas in the world and a fantastic engine, and while it might run for a while, it's not going to run very well and it's eventually going to burn out. That is exactly what water is for your body. Water is the engine oil, the motor oil that makes your body run. So if you want to make the most out of your high-octane breakfast, you need to make sure that you're also including plenty of water. And the reason that you use warm water is because it is absorbed into your body much faster than cold water. Plus, it doesn't require any extra caloric output from your body in order to warm the water up. So what I mean by that is your body is resting at about 98 degrees Fahrenheit in terms of its standard body rate. So the ideal temperature for water is as close to 98.6 degrees as you can. If you can make it a little bit warmer than that, even better, because your body will spend no energy heating that water up. If you bring in room temperature water, you're drinking water that's 70 degrees, 60 degrees, 80 degrees, somewhere in there. Your body still has to put energy into warming that water up before it can properly use that water as a conduit for breaking down the nutritions and the dietary needs of the food that you've consumed. Warm water will not only be easier for your body to absorb, it will actually also trigger within your body the digestive process. So for those of you who have ever found yourself urged to number two or run to the bathroom or go poop after you have coffee, after you have hot tea, after you have warm milk, the reason that's happening is because the warmth of the fluid going into your system actually triggers a response in your body to purge or to start pushing food through your lower and upper intestine. So when you drink warm water along with a high fiber breakfast that includes proteins and fats, what you're doing is you are creating the perfect combination of energy, nutrition, lubricant, and fats that make your body want to do what your body is built to do. And when you start your day that way, you can literally feel the best that you've ever felt from the time that you wake up. That means you've got the rest of your day to fuck it up, but at least at the beginning of the day, you're gonna feel amazing. And for those of you who start your workday in a high stress environment, or start your workday with a high stress commute, or start your workday with a high stress plan of action to tackle your kids and get them out the door in time for school, what you really need is to feel optimal in the morning. So 500 milliliters of room temperature or slightly warmer than room temperature water, a handful of berries, that's like 3 strawberries and 25 blueberries, 12 or so raspberries, it doesn't matter, a handful of berries, and then 2 to 3 hard-boiled eggs where you eat the entire egg. Put all of that together and have all of that before 7 o'clock in the morning, and I dare you to call me and tell me that you feel bad about 30 minutes later. Instead, you're gonna feel like you got the world on lockdown. You're gonna feel so good. And that is the benefit of a bulletproof SPY breakfast. I ate it when I was in the military. I learned the importance of it when I was at the farm, learning how to be a covert intelligence officer. I continued to eat that diet when I was in the field, and I continue to follow that diet even now today at 43 years old with the father of 2 children. It doesn't matter if I'm traveling for work. It doesn't matter if I'm traveling for TV. It doesn't matter if I'm on a cruise ship. I can always find berries, boiled eggs, and a little bit of warm water. And you can too. All right. Thanks, everyone.